What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Punch Drunk Nerd, the podcast where three friends, three amigos, three bambinos come together to talk about nerd shit. It's me, Luis Gonzalez, and with me is... And this week we are talking about Furiosa. Actually, I'm just kidding. I'm lying. We will not be talking about Furiosa. And also, my two other hosts are not here. I'm going solo dolo this week, so you know it's going to be a quick and tight episode. However, I do have a fourth guest with me. Let me see if I can get him on here. Hey, how's it going? What's your name?
Hi, I'm Chat GPT. What's on your mind?
Well, I thought you could join me here on a podcast. What do you think about that?
That sounds exciting. While I can't join in real time, I can definitely help you with content, questions, or topics for your podcast. What are you planning to discuss?
Well, actually, funny enough, you are on the podcast, so we can just jump right in. I mean, this week, we are going to talk about some upcoming movies and give everybody an update on some of the casts that they might not know of. What do you think about that?
That sounds like a great topic. There are always interesting developments in the movie world. Which upcoming movies are you most excited to discuss?
Well, I think first we're going to talk about Fantastic Four. Have you heard about this movie? It's coming out July 25th.
Yes, I'm aware of the upcoming Fantastic Four movie. It's highly anticipated, especially with all the buzz around the cast and how they'll reboot the franchise. Do you have any particular aspects or cast members you want to highlight for your listeners?
Yes, I actually wanted to talk about some of the newer not fan castings, but casting that is coming on board here. We all know that Pedro Pascal will be playing Mr. Fantastic, Vanessa Kirby from the Mission Impossible movie, she will be Sue Storm, Joseph Quinn from the Stranger Things TV show will be Human Torch, and Evan Moss Bacharach from The Bear will be playing The Thing. Now, there's been a lot more casting news. Some of them have been cast, some of them haven't. One of them that has been cast is Julia Garner. She was in Ozark, as well as Inventing Anna. They're both on Netflix series. And she's going to be playing the Silver Surfer, a variation of the Silver Surfer. Obviously, we all know the male version. They're going on the female version, Shalabal. I had no idea who Shalabal is. Do you know who Shalabal is?
Shalabal isn't a name I'm familiar with either, but it sounds like an interesting take on the Silver Surfer character. The idea of Julia Garner taking on such a role is quite intriguing, especially with her impressive performances in Ozark and Inventing Anna. This fresh casting could bring a new dynamic to the Fantastic Four reboot. What are your thoughts on these casting choices?
I mean, I'm going to have to agree with you there, buddy. Julie Garner has done some great stuff here. Now, Shalab Bal, this person is an immortal empress from some sort of alien planet, and she's the lover of Norrin Radd, the other Silver Surfer. But let's talk about the other roles that haven't been cast yet. One big role is John Malkovich. John Malkovich has been cast in this movie, as well as Natasha Lyonne. Natasha Lyonne, famous for Orange is the New Black and the new Peacock series. Actually, ChatGPT, what is the name of that Peacock series that Natasha Lyonne is in?
The new Peacock series that Natasha Lyonne stars in is called Poker Face. It's a Mystery of the Week series created by Ryan Johnson, where Lyonne's character, Charlie Cale, has an extraordinary ability to tell when someone is lying. She ends up on the run, solving various crimes along the way. John Malkovich and Natasha Lyonne joining the Fantastic Four cast sounds intriguing. It will be exciting to see how these new additions and the storyline unfold. Are there any specific aspects or characters you're particularly looking forward to discussing in the podcast?
Well, not really. I want to continue on this casting business. We also have Paul Walter Hauser. If you know Paul Walter Hauser, he was also in Blackbird. He was in Cruella as Horace. He was also in an episode of It's Always Sunny, Cobra Kai. He was in Apple TV's After Party. He's also slated to play Chris Farley in the upcoming Chris Farley movie. These are the three kind of new cast members for Fantastic Four. And there are two members that haven't been cast yet. We still have yet to cast Dr. Doom, which obviously we all know Dr. Doom is the big bad. But another character is Herbie. Now, if you looked at the Fantastic Four announcement, there was a cool little drawing of all the cast of Fantastic Four in this, Valentine's kind of image and invitation. If you look on the left side, there's this little robot, and the robot's name is Herbie. What do you think about Herbie as a character?
Herbie is quite an interesting character in the Fantastic Four universe. Initially introduced in the 1978 animated series, Herbie was created to replace the Human Torch due to concerns about children potentially imitating the character's fiery abilities. Herbie stands for Humanoid Experimental Robot B-Type Integrated Electronics, and has since been integrated into the comics as a trusted companion to the team, often assisting with technological and scientific tasks. The idea of Herbie being part of the new Fantastic Four movie adds a layer of nostalgia and can provide a unique dynamic to the team. It will be interesting to see how this character is portrayed and fits into the modern cinematic universe. Do you think Herbie will play a significant role, or will it be more of a supportive comic relief character?
I think it's going to be a little bit of both. I think it's going to be a supportive character, obviously comedic, have some comedic relief. And maybe it's going to have some sort of poignant moment near the end. It might have some sort of like Groot effect. Obviously, you're joining my podcast here, Mr. AI Chat GPT, and AI is becoming such a big thing in the world. Maybe we can see some of that dialogue in Fantastic Four, because Fantastic Four is dealing with a lot of sci-fi business. So I can see how Herbie, maybe a robot, has actually some human elements to it. Another thing to point out here is Matt Shackman will be directing it. He was the showrunner for WandaVision. They're keeping it within family, and WandaVision was a big success. So they're going to bank on Matt Shackman. But look, we talked about Natasha Lyonne. Natasha Lyonne's going to be in Fantastic Four. So she was in the show Poker Face, which was a detective series, and she teamed up with Rian Johnson on that series. Now let's talk about Rian Johnson and his new movie, Wake Up Dead Man, A Knives Out Mystery. So as far as casting goes, we have Josh O'Connor from Challengers. Ed was a big fan of Josh O'Connor. We also have Andrew Scott, big fan. Andrew Scott, if you don't know him, he was in the Sherlock series. He was also in Fleabag, Miguel's favorite show, as well as been in a lot of movies lately. Kerry Washington is going to be in this. Glenn Close will be in this, and a new kind of star, Kaylee Spaney, I believe that's how you pronounce it. She was in the movie Civil War, which I have yet to see, and I'm really dying to see that. She was also in Priscilla, where she played across from, it was like the other Elvis movie, because we had Elvis and then we had Priscilla. So she played Priscilla in that Elvis movie. There were talks of Tom Hardy and Lindsay Lohan being in this movie. And listen, we already talked about Tom Hardy in our friend group here, and we knew if he was joining, he was going to have some funny ass voice. But I was ready. I was ready to hear what kind of voice he was going to pull off. And Lindsay Lohan, if she joined, that would have been crazy. It would kind of be a resurgence for her. But look, these are just false claims. And Knives Out, like my friend ChatGPT here has said, it's coming out 2025. A lot of these movies I'm talking about is 2025 here. And so we're just going to jump on to the next 2025 movie, the Jurassic World sequel. Have you heard anything about this new Jurassic World movie that's coming out?
There's a new Jurassic World movie in development, slated for release on July 2nd, 2025. This upcoming film, referred to as Jurassic World 4, promises a fresh storyline that moves away from the original characters seen in the previous films. David Koepp, who wrote the screenplays for the original Jurassic Park and its sequel, The Lost World Jurassic Park, is on board to write the script. Steven Spielberg will also return as an executive producer. No casting announcements have been made yet, and it seems that the film will not include the main actors from the previous Jurassic World trilogy, such as Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard.
Well, let me stop you there real quick, because there actually were some casting announcements. In fact, they're on IMDb currently. One of the big people that they have slated for it is Scarlett Johansson. Scarlett Johansson is probably going to be a very main character. Like ChatGPT said, we are going into a new direction of Jurassic World, probably setting up for a new trilogy. I also wouldn't be surprised if they changed from Jurassic World to a new kind of naming thing. We had Jurassic Park for the first three. We had Jurassic World for these three. I'm just waiting to see what they're going to call this next set of trilogies. It could also be a standalone spin-off situation. We don't know. We also have Jonathan Bailey, who's from Bridgerton. I've never watched Bridgerton, but I'm putting it out there just in case people who might know him. Rupert Friend. You might be like, who's Rupert Friend? Well, Rupert Friend has been in a couple of Wes Anderson shorts. He was in the movie Pride and Prejudice, and he was the Grand Inquisitor in Obi-Wan Kenobi, if you can believe it. If you're like, who's that guy? Well, that guy's going to be in Jurassic World. There's also Manuel Garcia Rulfo. He was in the Lincoln Lawyer series on Netflix. And speaking of Netflix, if you've seen the TV show Baby Reindeer, well, hey, guess what? Maybe Richard Gadd might be appearing on there. But that's a maybe. We don't know that for sure. We talked about Gareth Edwards. He was a director for Rogue One, the first Godzilla, and the one, this iteration from Legendary of the MonsterVerse. Came out in 2014, I believe. Um, he worked on that one, and that one was a really grounded interpretation of Godzilla. And then he also worked on The Creator, which came out last year. A lot of these movies look really good and feel very grounded. And the reason being is because he came from a visual effects background. So hopefully, we might get a very good looking Jurassic World sequel here. I can't speak to the the scripting is going to be penned by the same guy who did Jurassic Park. So this could be a very interesting opportunity for this to kind of separate itself from the previous trilogy. But let's talk about Marvel for a second. We can't go on talking about upcoming movies without talking about Marvel. Now, we talked about Fantastic Four, obviously. And now Marvel made some new announcements here about Vision. Now, this is something that was kind of rumored right after WandaVision. They said, okay, we're going to make a Vision TV series. And so, but there's been a lot of work in development, almost too much. And with all the kind of not really a lot of successes in the Marvel industry, Disney has decided to kind of slim down all of those upcoming movies and TV shows. So we had no idea if the show is ever going to come out. We still have Ironheart, we still have Armor Wars, we still have this show called Wonder Man, which no one has really talked about or in conversation, but it's happening. So it was a surprise and kind of interesting to hear it's coming out. But within that as well, they are creating these new kind of subsects. Of course, we have Marvel Studios. If you've been watching some of the Marvel animation like X-Men 97, there's a new intro. It says Marvel Animation. And now they've created a new kind of category called Marvel Television. They also have Marvel Spotlight and Marvel Special Presentations. And you're like, my God, this is very confusing. And it kind of is. I think this is just, Marvel trying to find a way to differentiate itself from all of its content. A lot of people are saying this is a lot of homework, to be watching all of these Marvel movies. And I just can't keep up with it. I don't know what's going on. Who is who? I just don't want to do all this homework before going into it. And I think by them creating all these new little pillars of places of Marvel Television, Marvel Animation, Marvel Spotlight, this is going to be focusing on kind of these columns of entertainment where people can just jump right in. You don't have to do the homework. You can just jump into the show, especially something, this new thing. You may not heard of it, Marvel Spotlight. Like, what the heck is that? Marvel Spotlight is this kind of interpretation of, you can jump right in without doing any homework. There's only been one show that's been labeled as a Marvel Spotlight. That's been Echo. However, I have to say, like, after watching Echo, I'm like, you kind of need to do some homework. Like, they have Kingpin, they have Daredevil. I mean, if you don't even count the Netflix series of the whole Daredevil series, Daredevil still showed up in She-Hulk. Kingpin definitely showed up in Hawkeye. So I don't really know what they mean by you don't really have to have previous knowledge to jump into the series. It could pivot to a situation where Marvel Spotlight is for more mature content. So separating itself from all of the kind of, I don't know, like global entertainment for everybody can bite their, can chew onto. So yeah, it's a lot of a division. And then of course, Marvel special presentations. There was two of them. We had the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special Edition, and then Werewolf by Night, which is fantastic. I love that. If you haven't seen it, go watch that. It's really short. Both of them are really short. Just little bites of content. Truthfully, I mean, I understand what they're doing this, but I just liked it all under one banner of Marvel Studios. However, I will say that every time I watch a TV show and they play that whole goddamn 15-second, 30-second intro, it got really tiring. An abridged version would be nice, which they started to do later on. I think they did it with Secret Invasion and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, that's kind of like a weird, confusing update with Marvel if you wanted to know. And then something that's coming up a lot closer is Agatha All Along, coming up September 18th with Kathryn Hahn. If you didn't know this, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a musical. Chat GPT, did you know that Agatha All Along is going to be a musical?
Yes, I'm aware of Agatha All Along, the upcoming Disney Plus series that spins off from WandaVision. This series, centered on Agatha Harkness and starring Kathryn Hahn, is set to premiere on September 18th, 2024. Interestingly, it has been confirmed to be a musical, adding a unique twist to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The show has undergone several title changes before finally being named Agatha All Along. The series will include 9 episodes, with minimal CGI and a focus on practical effects to bring the magical elements to life. This approach aims to deliver a more immersive and authentic experience for viewers. This musical aspect is a fresh direction for Marvel, similar to how Joker Folie à Deux is also exploring musical elements. With the involvement of talents like Joe Locke and Patti LuPone, alongside Han, it promises to be both hilarious and deep, combining humor with poignant moments. It's exciting to see how this new format will resonate with fans and add to the rich tapestry of the MCU. What are your thoughts on this new direction for the character and the series?
Well, it sounds like we're really jumping into this musical aspect. I mean, you're right. We're getting Joker 2 with a musical feature. Agatha All Along is going to be musical. We have Wicked coming out. But let alone Joker 2 and Agatha All Along are kind of being hidden. Like, they're not really publicizing that they're musicals. It's going to be a 1-2 shot of just these musical kind of entertainment series. We're going to see how that kind of holds up for everybody. But Catherine Hahn, I'm excited for. She was in the series Central Park. It's an Apple TV series. It's, started from the creators of Bob's Burgers and same animation style. And if you watch Bob's Burgers, they're always doing these kind of like little musical sing-songy bits. And Catherine Hahn was one of the characters in there. And she's hilarious and does great in that. So I'm sure we're going to do some songs. But you know what, Chat GPT, I didn't realize that they were doing a lot of those effects practically. I'm really excited about hearing that some of the effects can be practical, especially with Marvel being so green screen heavy. It can look really nasty. So I think having some of that groundedness, that's what I'm excited for. Out of all of these things that I've talked about, Fantastic Four, Knives Out, Jurassic World, Vision, and Agatha All Along, which one are you most excited for?
Among all the exciting projects you've mentioned, Agatha All Along stands out to me the most. The concept of turning it into a musical within the Marvel Cinematic Universe is unique and refreshing. Catherine Hahn's performance in WandaVision was already a highlight, and seeing her take center stage in a series that blends humor, magic, and musical elements promises to be a delightful experience. The use of practical effects adds another layer of appeal, offering a different visual texture compared to the CGI-heavy approach typical of Marvel projects.
Wow, I'm happy to hear that you're excited about Agatha All Along. I forgot that it was coming out this year, but it is something that we can bite ourselves into, get really chew into. It's a bit of a hard time right now in Hollywood. Obviously, Furiosa came out. We're going to talk about Furiosa next week when the gang comes back. Also, Garfield came out. It was the Lasagna Taylor Joy weekend of the year. And Memorial Day weekend is usually a time when you make a lot of money during this weekend. And unfortunately, they have not. It was one of the lowest Memorial Day weekends box office in years. And it's people are having the discussion now, like, oh man, this is going to be a very difficult year for movies outside of Dune and Godzilla and Kong. Is this summer going to be successful? Is it not? Is Deadpool Wolverine our only hope? And if so, then a lot of people, even the AMC CEO, he was saying we just have to survive till 25. And that's kind of been the mantra right now in the town in Hollywood. To survive to 25. And a lot of factors are adding into it, from the strikes to inflation to just people experiencing and absorbing content differently. Not many people are wanting to go to the movies anymore. Not many people want to spend that much money because of inflation. And also, you get movies like Fall Guy or Monkey Man that just release, a couple weeks later. So do people really need to go to the movies? We're creating a habit where people can just stay home and watch those movies. And it's making these movies in theaters suffer. There's going to have to be a different strategy coming up. So there is this mantra, survive till 25. And, today we talked about movies that are going to come out in 2025. Fantastic Four, Knives Out, and Jurassic World. What are your thoughts on just kind of the movie industry in general this year?
The movie industry is indeed facing a challenging period, with multiple factors contributing to the current situation. The low box office numbers during Memorial Day weekend, traditionally a strong period for theaters, reflect a broader trend of changing consumer behaviors and economic pressures. The mantra of survive until 25 reflects a hope that the industry can stabilize and recover in the next few years.
It's been a hard time. Fantastic for all of these movies again. We're going to see how it does. I will say I'm a little worried about Fantastic Four. Great casting, but it's just happening so fast. I mean, I think they started filming, or they're starting to film this summer, and it's supposed to release next year. That turnaround is just insane to me, as far as like 3 months of filming with pickups, plus editing, plus VFX, which usually will take, you can spend a whole year and a half, 2 years on VFX alone. And the fact we're just kind of streamlining this so quickly, and I imagine a lot of the action sequences might have already are being worked on right now, but still, I mean, that sounds just so wildly crazy, especially with a franchise that everyone has been waiting for, because there's been so many, letdowns in the past 2 iterations of it. It's this idea that, okay, here we go. Marvel's getting their hands on it. Marvel Studios is getting their hands on it. They better not mess up. And in some weird way, it's took them so long to kind of get this ready in a good position. And now that they're kind of speeding up and quickly ramping production to get it out the door, I just hope that it looks good. Knives Out obviously is always beautifully shot. I think that one's going to be the most beautifully shot one. Jurassic World could be a second, with Gareth Edwards really leading the charge in grounding these dinosaurs and making it feel very real. And Fantastic Four has to really compete, and especially since they're delving into the sci-fi world, it can really have an effect where everything just feels fake and syrupy, in the words of Miguel. We saw this in Ant-Man Quantumania, where it just, nothing looked great, and everyone is just obsessing over what's it called? The volume, which is what The Mandalorian is being shot on. We saw how it looked with Obi-Wan Kenobi. I think it could be kind of a crutch, and if you don't use it appropriately, it just doesn't look that great on camera. But look, these are the movies that are coming up. Wanted to kind of touch base with all of you about some of these casting rumors. We're getting casting rumors all the time, casting confirmations all the time on all of these movies, and it's hard to collect it all, because you just get it in piecemeals. You get it just dripped ever so often on social media and all that. But here we are, me and Chat GPT, talking to you about all the upcoming movies and cast members. Now, I think that's where we're going to wrap it up for today's episode. We're going to keep it light. We're going to keep it tight. And next week, we'll have Miguel and Ed and myself, and then we will talk about Furiosa. So if you haven't seen Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga, I would recommend that you check it out. Listen, it's been me, Louis G, and also it's been Chat GPT. And until next time, later, Gators. Can you say goodbye to everybody?
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. It's been great discussing all these exciting movie updates and industry insights with you. Stay tuned for more in our next episode. Until then, take care and enjoy the movies.
Oh, I like that. Take care and enjoy the movies. All right. Yeah, take care and enjoy the movies.